Hello, Dolphin Dork fans, and welcome to Dolphin Dorks, Episode 4. The league is set. We have our two finalists for the Super Bowl, the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Deflatriots. No, Patriots. Okay.
They're the Cheatriots, bro.
The Cheatriots, the Deflatriots, the Hatriots, the Cheatriots.
It's the Falcons, not Falcons, Falcons.
The Falcons.
Versus the Cheatriots.
What are you talking about? But they didn't fail. They won. They won in convincing fashion. They spanked the Packers. They spanked them.
Oh, come on. This is a franchise that before Matt Ryan couldn't get back-to-back winning seasons, for God's sake.
Yeah. But they're a great offense this year, and their defense is finally coming along. You know, they're a good contender. They're a really valid contender.
They are. Look, okay, before we get started, introduce ourselves, Mike.
I always forget to do that.
Yeah, you do.
Why? I start off so strong, and I forget, like, the key thing all the time. I'm your host, Mikey Mike, writer for Scout.com, host of the Dolphin Dorks podcast, which you are now listening to, hopefully for the fourth time. And I'm here with my host, Robbie T., longtime friend, college football and NFL nerd. Also a huge nerd when it comes to a whole bunch of other things in life.
Yeah, dork.
Yeah, he's a big dork. And that's why we're called the Dolphin Dorks. Okay, so two stinkers to finish off the NFC and AFC Conference Championships.
It's always so sad when there's like 3 games left, you know, the Conference Championship games and the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And there's always like at least one stinker out of the 3. It's never like 3 super close games. It's just like there's got to be a crappy game. And in this case, we had 2 crappy games.
Yeah.
Back on Sunday.
I remember. Oh man, I think there was a really great NFC Championship game a couple years ago. It was Colin Kaepernick versus Russell Wilson in Seattle. That one was a really close one. Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll, 2 great college coaches going at it.
The best thing was Richard Sherman's rant at the end.
Oh yeah. Oh man, he hated Crabtree during that game.
Crabtree. He
gave Crabtree a hard time, and then he deflected that final pass into the end zone for, I think it was either the 49ers tie or a win, and just threw it out of the end zone. No, he deflected it and then he got intercepted.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And then he tried to give Crabtree like a high five after the game, and then Crabtree just slapped his hand out of the way. Then he went all on a big media tirade with that little blonde reporter. I forget her name.
I think it was Aaron Andrews.
Was it Aaron Andrews?
Whatever, it was still hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
I remember like the reaction from that. Like I remember I have this one dude on my Facebook, and it was probably the most racial reaction. And I remember seeing it, I'm just like, I'm not even gonna get involved with that.
Yeah, you don't want to touch the racism remarks. Our first game, the NFC Championship game, was the first game played on Sunday. And the Falcons they spanked the Packers 44-21. At one point in this game, it was after halftime, it was like 31-0.
Most impressive.
It was a terrible game.
I was recovering from a hangover.
Really? Oh, yeah. That's right. Your birthday was over the weekend.
Yes, it was.
Yes, I was there.
Yeah.
I almost forgot I was there. Not sure why, but I did.
Yeah. Mike was pretty wasted there.
I had a great time.
It was cool.
I talked to like 4 ladies at that party, none of which would have me. But that's okay, because I still enjoyed some drinks and great conversation. And I got to give Robbie a little birthday hug. It was nice.
Yeah, worst gift ever.
Yeah. That's the gift that keeps on giving all year round. All the way to your next birthday. I'll give you another hug.
I don't want hugs.
Yes, you do. You like hugs.
I want a big booty hoe.
All right. Next year.
Thank you.
All right. I'm making a point of that. Okay, so anyway, at one point of this game, 31-0 after halftime in like the third quarter, The Packers, they couldn't stay. You know, you can't. They turned over the ball twice in this game, and you can't do that against an electric Falcons offense. Like, I thought the game was going to be pretty close. You know, you got Aaron Rodgers, who can go down the field and, you know, pick you apart. You got, you know, Matt Ryan, who's been on fire all year. He can go down the field and pick you apart. And the defenses aren't that great. But, you know.
The Packers' defense sucks.
They don't even. I don't even know how many starters they actually have playing on their defense right now. But they were terrible.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
Their secondary was so decimated.
So decimated.
And, you know, when you have a defense that bad, you cannot turn over the ball at all.
You can't. I know that was basically my point, because you have to at least stay in the game with them. And the Packers, you know, after the Falcons scored the first touchdown, the Packers answered by going all the way down the field, but then Mason Crosby missed the field goal, and then after the Falcons scored again, the Packers went all the way down the field again, and then Ripkowski fumbles that ball inside the Falcons' 10-yard line, and then the Falcons get the ball back, and you just knew that, like, that was pretty much it for the Packers.
Yeah, once he fumbled it right there, you just knew, no matter how godly Aaron Rodgers is.
Yep. You just had the feeling that magic was gone that day.
Yeah, like, the magic was gone. Atlanta, just on pure personnel, they're at home, the last game at the Georgia Dome. It was just so kind of meant to be kind of game. It's like, no matter how good Rodgers was, if Rodgers would have made this happen, if he would have somehow clawed and got that close win like he did with Dallas, the perception would be so different, but it's not really the case.
I know. The thing is, he's literally been carrying that team. Like, he doesn't, like, Eddie Lacy went down. Not that I'm a huge believer in Eddie Lacy anyway.
He's fat!
Yeah, he's fat. God, I wish I had a nickname for Eddie Lacy. I'm going to have
Fatty
to think of
Lacy.
one later.
Fatty Lacy.
But, yeah, you know, Eddie Lacy goes down. That's like their one true running back on the team. Ty Montgomery, he's filled in neatly as a replacement RB.
He's a number 88 playing running back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then they pick up Christian Michael from the Seahawks, but he's still kind of learning the offense. He made a couple mistakes in the games that he's played, and he hasn't even become the starter because of how far behind he is learning that offense. And, you know, Aaron Rodgers, it's not that he didn't play good. It's like the rest of the team finally failed him. Like,
I think he, because I didn't think he was that great, honestly. But I do think, like, I won't say the team quit. They were just so outmatched on speed, athleticism, that no matter how great of a quarterback you are, man, when you know your team is just not going to do it, you know you're not going to play all that amazingly.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to just force a lot of throws, which he did force a lot of throws. He threw a pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one thing that Packers had going for them all year is the offense. But then, you know, Ripkowski, you know, their running game still didn't show up again. The receivers, usually they help out Aaron Rodgers by getting open and actually catching the ball, but they had so many drops in this game. Ty Montgomery dropped like a pass out of the backfield. Christian Michael did the same thing. Ripkowski, I think he was open for like a pass out of the backfield. He dropped it. Jared Cook dropped one. Just drops all over the place. And, you know, when you do that, those are drive killers. And they just kept falling behind. And then Aaron Rodgers made like a couple bad throws, but those were throws that were trying to, you know, in a desperate situation, you're just trying to make a big play just to get your team back in the game. But it was just a spanking all around.
We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. The second half, we couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to.
Well, what are you going to do about it? maybe I was playing with my heart when I picked Rodgers and the Packers. I still believe this Packers team could have still win it all, but Atlanta's just better.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Falcons side, Julio. They actually did a great job of pressuring Rodgers, because we all know that if you pressure Rodgers and you could get to him, you could pretty much win the game, because Aaron Rodgers is that whole team. So the Falcons did a great job. They sacked him twice, and they had 7 pressures, and they had 8 quarterback hits on him, which was great. And that was mainly the big part of the Falcons' defense there. Later in the game, Julio Jones goes on that 70-yard run. What was it, an out route?
I don't remember, to be honest.
You don't remember? I don't remember either. Okay.
Look, I was again, people, I was really hangover. And when you knew that game was turning to a blowout,
yeah, it's why even pay attention?
How many possessions were I remember I saw the stats of the possessions I had. It was touchdown, 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 punt, touchdown, 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 field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown.
I think their last possession they finally punted. It was either the last possession or the second to last. They finally punted the ball. Yeah. So Julio Jones just playing with 3 foot injuries. He takes a short little pass from Matt Ryan, and he just throws a couple of defenders off of him, and he just goes straight to the end zone.
Hey, guess what, guys?
Just more just diarrhea on that turd sandwich.
Chocolate rain.
You know what I like about Julio Jones? He's not a diva who creates distractions.
Julio Jones is the perfect example of what you want a
wide
wide receiver and a football player to be.
Yeah, Julio Jones, AJ Green, they're pretty great. You know what's so great about them? You don't hear about them all the time.
Yep. All they do is produce. You just hear about the numbers and the amazing plays. You don't hear about any of that locker room stuff or the practice stuff or the me selfishness like you do with most recently Antonio Brown, which I never thought of him as a selfish player or kind of a diva player.
When you play for Pittsburgh, you get away with a lot of things.
Yes, you do. And we're going to get into that when we talk about our Steelers and Patriots game.
Well, before we get into that, congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons on reaching their second ever Super Bowl appearance. Before the season started, I actually did pick the Atlanta Falcons to make the playoffs. I was very impressed with them last year with their 6-1 start. Yeah, they teeter off towards the end, but I saw a lot of interesting improvements. I thought the defense will get better. Matt Ryan will get his stuff together. And I didn't expect them. I expected them to be a wild card team. I didn't expect them to win a division or anything. I thought Carolina was going to win the division. But I think this run, finally shut off all the Matt Ryan doubters out there. Because, again, I feel that people didn't care for Matt Ryan because of what team he plays for.
Atlanta Falcons.
I think this is the prime example of playing for a team no one cares about. Atlanta is very regional, no good history. Like I said, this was a team that never had back-to-back winning seasons until Matt Ryan was drafted by them.
Yep.
Yeah. So he never really had the respect he deserved, and I consider him an A-tier quarterback. I think, yeah, he had some struggles the last few years, but that was mostly because their offensive line was garbage.
The deflector shield.
Garbage. Yeah, but Matt Ryan, every year you always look at his stats and he throws for 4,500 yards. And he is that difference-making quarterback. Unfortunately, I haven't watched him as closely over the years because I just don't get a lot of Falcons games televised to my house.
Yeah, they'll give us a Cowboys game every week, but I never get to see Atlanta.
Oh, my God, do they give us a Cowboys game every week.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!
But yeah.
Seriously, people, if he was in the Cowboys, we would never shut up about him.
That's true. So Matt Ryan and the 2016 Falcons offense, they scored 540 points this year, most in Falcons history. The next in Falcons history is the 1998 Falcons with 442 points. So it's basically a 100-point difference, 102-point difference there, which is very, very impressive.
Yeah, but this Falcons team, forget about the points. This is just a clearly better team than that Falcons team.
Oh no,
that Falcons,
no doubt about
that
it.
That was just kind of a fluke, to be honest with you. That Falcons team, they were just a team that just happened to beat the best team that year. That was the Minnesota year, where a lot of people thought Minnesota was going to go all the way.
Kyle Shanahan, probably Matt Ryan's favorite person this year, is the offensive coordinator for the Falcons, and he is possibly in the running, and the lead running to be the 49ers' next coach. The 49ers officials will fly to Atlanta to meet with Kyle Shanahan on Saturday. The Falcons are number 2 in regular season offense, number 3 in passing, and number 5 in rushing. So yeah, by league rules, I think you could only talk to other teams when your team is not playing that week. I think that's how it goes. So basically, because they have, a 2-week window before the Super Bowl, they can talk to the 49ers can visit with Kyle Shanahan and talk things over. Alex Mack, as far as practice this week, he's not going to practice because he's doubtful with a swollen and painful sprained ankle. And yeah.
See, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he hurt himself in the game.
I think the 2 weeks of rest, preparation, I think he will play. I'm not really worried about that, but that could be a pretty big loss if he is unable to play.
Yeah, if he's unable to play, which, I mean, who knows? Sprained ankles always take a couple weeks to heal, but I mean, if he just rests this week, it's a good thing it's a sprained ankle and not a broken ankle.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the end of this week he can get to practice next week, or at least practice for half a week, or maybe even less than that. I mean, he already knows the offense. He doesn't really need to practice per se.
He's a veteran pro center. He'll figure it out.
He'll figure it out. He doesn't really need to practice. He just needs to heal up. So yeah, done with that game. And you want to talk about that other stinker?
It stinks. It stinks. It
had
stinks.
on Sunday, which started at 6:30. Is your favorite team, Robbie? New England Patriots. They spanked the Steelers 36-17. Another just butt whooping. It was another boring game.
That was just a disaster by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it really was.
Pittsburgh was awful the whole game. Le'Veon Bell didn't look all that amazing, and then he gets hurt. Freaking Big Ben did not play that great. Everybody's favorite receiver, Antonio Brown, was not effective at all. Maybe his numbers look okay or nice, but it doesn't translate to what he did on the actual field. I thought it was this is proving my point with Devo wide receivers. Yeah, the Facebook thing, I think might have affected it. I was hoping that maybe Pittsburgh would pull something out, but clearly it hasn't.
Nope.
And then once again, freaking New England somehow. The worst thing is, I said it before the season started, New England would make the Super Bowl. And I said even with Tom Brady was out for the first 4 games, they will bull crap their way into the Super Bowl. And that they did. They did.
I wouldn't say their schedule was really easy, but I can't say they
did.
They won in convincing fashion. It's not like
Look, bro, first of
they
all,
dominated every single team they played this year.
First of all, the AFC is garbage.
I know the AFC is garbage.
It's clearly obvious it's garbage. The AFC, this I don't even think this is an amazing freaking New England team.
You underestimate the power of the dark side.
I just think Tom Brady was just playing great because he was motivated to shove it up to freaking Goodell. I thought that they literally somehow bull crap their way. I mean, I almost said the S word, but man, I wanted to say that so badly. Don't interrupt me, Mike. I'm going to rant right now. I'm ranting right now.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy.
Damn it, I hate New England so much. And damn it, it makes me sick to my stomach that somehow, some way, that team could still be pretty damn good.
The hate is swelling in you now.
With this guy at 50, and with no Gronk, and with a bunch of white boys playing wide receiver.
Give in to your anger.
It's so weird. It annoys me how And I still don't think that great. Everyone talks about, oh, they're the #1 defense. They played against crappy quarterbacks that cannot sustain any offense. Look at that scheduling. Almost all their freaking opponents were bad offensive teams.
Let the hate flow through you.
And then they still somehow get Brock Osweiler in a playoff game because freaking this guy, Derek Carr gets hurt.
It could have been Carr versus Brady.
Oh, it just annoys me that how is this team so consistently good every year? Like I don't understand. I don't think their running backs are that amazing. I don't think their wide receivers are that amazing. I'll give you Gronk, but Gronk's not even playing. And their defense, I don't even think is that amazing. Like, that defense doesn't scare me that much.
You will find that it is you who are mistaken about a great many things.
But it's a smart defense.
I will tip my hat off to them, but I still think they're a bunch of cheating scumbags. I still can't stand them. There'll always be a division rival with me, and I will hate them just as much as I hate the Jets and the Bills. They will not get any respect from me. They will not get any sympathy with me.
You hate more? Jets or the Patriots?
I feel like I should hate the Jets more because we're more of a blood feud with them. But man, growing up seeing New England just dominate every year just makes me sick to my stomach.
Sick. It's so numbing. It's like for me, I get sick of it, but it's like.
And the worst thing
I
is,
feel it in my stomach.
And then the worst thing is, I've said it over and over. There's two reasons why they're so successful. One, I think, is an intimidation factor. I think people are just intimidated by New England.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
And two, the AFC is garbage. Garbage, garbage, garbage.
Nothing can stop the Empire.
The Cleveland Browns is the worst run organization ever. And they play in the AFC. The Oakland Raiders was bad for 10 years. AFC, freaking Chargers was always poorly run, and that's what a great quarterback in Phillip Rivers. The AFC South is so bad that Andrew Luck can't even win in it anymore.
Good.
Because his team is so bad.
The only real threat that was Brady's nemesis for a while was Peyton Manning, and he's retired.
And he's gone now. And even then, his nemesis, like, friggin' Brady whooped his butt like 1 billion times. Then you got friggin' you got the Ravens. They're teetering off now. I think I don't know what's up with them. I know Flacco was never really an elite quarterback, but I think he's starting to hit this road now. Who knows what they're gonna do with him down the road? But Cincinnati will never win a playoff game.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
It's just like Tom Brady would not make this many playoffs if he was playing in the NFC. In the NFC, he would not have that many winning seasons.
No.
And that's what annoys me. It's the AFC. Why can't a team just get their act together and start taking over? It's not hard. Alex Smith is winning in the AFC.
Everything that has transpired has done so according to my design.
All right. You done?
Yes. No, just go recap.
I mean, yeah, I know you hate him. Okay, so basically, so the Patriots spanked the Steelers 36-17. Pittsburgh, it was just the same thing as the Packers and Falcons game. Pittsburgh turned over the ball twice. And against Brady, you can't do things like that. Chris Hogan, his stat line was pretty much equal to Julio Jones. He had 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. One of them off a very, very impressive flea flicker that brought in the Steelers safeties and, just caused Brady to have a wide open Hogan to throw a touchdown to. This is the world we live in, where Chris Hogan is Julio Jones for the Patriots. Man.
Shut up.
Bell, the Steelers didn't get any help. Le'Veon Bell got injured early in the game with a groin injury. D'Angelo Williams stepped in for him, Patriots really shut down that run game. Like, I've never seen the Pittsburgh O-line look so bad. They were considered one of the best in the league.
The deflector shield.
run blocking and pass blocking, and the Patriots really just dismantled them and stopped the run game.
They got completely out-coached. They got completely outplayed. New England knew exactly what they were going to do to them, and it worked perfectly.
But New England's not that good, you said.
Shut up. I'm not saying they're an overrated team. I said they'd make the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You're just saying the competition in the AFC is just...
Again, the main reason I posted this on Facebook a long time before the season started. You read it. You saw it.
Yeah.
I had Packers versus Patriots.
Yes.
I said I had the Packers because I thought Aaron Rodgers would take them there. And I had the Patriots because I knew New England will bullshit their way to the Super Bowl. And yes, you can use the censor button when we edit.
Yes.
Please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just the Steelers just not showing up at all. It started with that Antonio Brown Facebook Live video, which I don't personally think it's a big deal to have a Facebook video go online, but the media does what the media does and blows it out of proportion.
First of all, it's against team violations. He should not have been doing that.
No, he shouldn't have.
And honestly, it is a little disrespectful.
It was diva-ish. I will agree with you on that. This diva thing with Antonio Brown's finally coming out. He shouldn't have been doing that. He knows he shouldn't be doing that because his coach told him that. And as he was doing it, the coach talked about don't do any stupid social media stuff before we play the Patriots. And he's doing it as he's saying it. It's crazy. And then, Mike Tomlin did a great job of hushing it with the media by just coming down on Antonio Brown publicly. But all he did was just fine Antonio Brown $10,000. He didn't really bench him at any part of the game, and rightfully so because you want your best player against the Patriots. You can't afford to do things like that in an AFC Championship game.
If you bench Brown, people are gonna cut your head off for you doing that. It doesn't matter what he did. All right. Okay. So no, he shouldn't be benching him. Whatever. Just fine him, make him look bad in front of the team. That's it. But don't bench him. But again, it's just, I don't know. The Pittsburgh Steelers is a really weird team.
Mm-hmm. So, Le'Veon Bell leaves the game early with a groin injury, and DeAngelo Williams comes in, and for whatever reason, DeAngelo Williams looks a lot smaller than I remember him. He even looks shorter than I remember.
Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
I remember in the beginning of the season, he was more thicker and everything, and then I see this small back come in, and they say it's DeAngelo Williams, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's some other, third string running back that they have. No, it was DeAngelo Williams, and he was so tiny. I know he lost weight before the season started, but he looked way smaller than he did even at the beginning of the season. I don't know what's going on with him, but he looked really undersized, and they tried to run him in on a couple goal line stances that they had in Patriots territory, but they couldn't even punch it in. The Steelers on defense, they were just confused by the Patriots offense. They ran a zone scheme the entire time. One of them, which allowed Chris Hogan to become open deep in the end zone. One time when the Patriots were on the other side of the field, they left Chris Hogan wide open a couple times on the sideline. Because the Patriots just saw that they were running a zone scheme and put multiple people in one zone, and the Steelers had to switch from one player to the other, and they couldn't even, and they just got confused and didn't even know who to cover, and it led to Patriots players becoming wide open. And they never did anything throughout the game to change it up, which was crazy to me. And then later on in the fourth quarter, on a fourth and goal play, in the bottom of the third quarter, instead of Ben Roethlisberger throwing a pass to Antonio Brown, his best receiver, he throws it to number 83. I'm not sure if that's who is that, Robbie? 83 on the Steelers. Is that Sammy Coates?
It's either Sandy Coates or some other guy. I don't remember. I don't know their numbers, honestly.
Yeah. So basically, the Patriots took away, Antonio Brown with Malcolm Butler, and then they dropped. And then they put a safety over the top of them, so Antonio Brown was covered most of the time. He got open a couple of times for 6 catches and 66 yards or whatever it was.
He was so pouty that whole game. I don't know if you've already mentioned that. I must have misheard you, but when one of the Pittsburgh players scored a touchdown, might have been Williams. I don't remember. I was celebrating the touchdown. Like Antonio Brown was just so pouty and upset because he was wide open. He didn't get the touch. Like,
yeah, and
the diviness is being released.
Yeah, I know, and I love Antonio Brown. I think he's a great receiver, and he proved last night that he's the only receiver really on the Steelers, because all these other receivers that they have are inconsistent. Eli Rogers, as good as he is sometimes, he dropped a couple passes. There was one bomb to Sammy Coates for a touchdown. He dropped that. He did that earlier in the year as the year went on too. I think Jesse James might have dropped one. And just Darius Hayward-Bay at the end of the game when Ben Roethlisberger bombed a pass to him, he wasn't even looking for the ball because he's not. I don't know. He's just inconsistent too. He didn't look back for the ball, and when Roethlisberger threw it to him, the Patriots intercepted it.
Yeah, but you know what, dude? You could defend Antonio Brown all you want. He's still never had a touchdown.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying he's the only good receiver on the Steelers, and that's why he gets thrown
let me just say, he is a great receiver, but he's
for
still,
11 catches a game.
He still has never caught a touchdown pass by any other receiver, any other quarterback. I'm sorry. So anytime Landry Jones or whoever their backup is, Antonio Brown doesn't get a touchdown from that. He's a great player, but maybe we're a little over-exaggerating his greatness a little bit.
What do you mean? I'm not following that.
I'm just saying that I think he's good because Ben Roethlisberger makes him look good.
I don't think so. I think he's a really good receiver.
I think there's better. Again, I still got some love for AJ Green. He's still my dog. AJ.
Like, do you think are you basing that off of skills and running, or are you just basing it off of his physical stature?
AJ Green has better physical stature, but I just think he's just a better wide receiver altogether. I think his skill set's just better. Antonio Brown is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he is amazing, but I just think AJ Green is just a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, would I take a bigger receiver? Sure, I definitely would. But I mean, I think Antonio Brown's great. I actually think I would probably take Julio Jones, a healthy Julio Jones, over him, just because of the size and the red zone factor for running fade routes and stuff. But Antonio Brown runs fade routes too, and he's got a really good quarterback throwing him the ball. So yeah, boom, half the show done.
So yes, Super Bowl 51, the New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons.
Yes. This is the 7th Super Bowl appearance by Brady in his 15 seasons. No, 16 seasons, but 15 of them, 15 since, I guess, his first Super Bowl. In his career, he makes the Super Bowl 40% of the time. Probably more than that. Probably 43, 45% of the time. This will be his 5th ring should he win. And all-time, the Patriots lead all franchises with 9 Super Bowl appearances.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
Most of them in that Brady area. Most of them in that Brady era, of course.
Yeah.
On the Falcons side with that, Matt Ryan and the 2016 Falcons. We all know about their offense. Their defense. They're very young, but they have multiple rookies and second-year players who are pretty talented. Vic Beasley's one of them. They have 2 Defensive Rookie of the Year candidates, and their linebacker Deion Jones, who has 106 tackles and 3 interceptions, and their safety Keanu Neal. He was the 17th overall pick, and he has 105 tackles and 5 forced fumbles, and he is tied for 3rd in the NFL with forced fumbles. And but throughout the year, even though the defense is playing better now, for most of the regular season they were ranked 25th in overall defense, 28th in passing and rushing. So yeah, there you go. That's our Super Bowl preview. Who do you think is going to take this game?
Well,
and why?
Well, I won't go to detail. I feel like we're going to probably save that for next week's show. Next week will be our Super Bowl edition show. But right now, New England is a favorite in Vegas by about 3.5, depending on what you look at. probably rightfully shows. I think based on their record and experience and better defense, all that. New England's probably the favorite. I think just like every other Brady game, it's going to be another super close game that's down to the wire. It's always been like that. Every Brady Super Bowl has always been like that. I do not expect a blowout. I think people are already going to say New England's going to blow out the Falcons. That's not happening.
I think that happens a lot because, well, all the close Super Bowl games that Brady's been in, because I think
they're all been close. They've all been close.
They've all been close. I think in the early Brady years, I think because he wasn't as elite as he is now, I think he had a tougher time winning those games. But also the AFC was a lot better back then.
But even then, even in his elite status, not even the undefeated season where he lost, it was a super close game.
Yeah, because that's the thing. In the Super Bowl, he's finally playing a good opponent on the other side most of the time.
What are you talking about?
Because in the AFC, he's just got to breeze through all these, bull poopy AFC
all
teams.
The
like
NFC teams he's beaten were great NFC teams. He beat.
No.
Kurt
I'm
Warner.
not saying that, but I'm saying they're all close games because he's finally has to. He's not just blowing them out because he's finally has some competition on the other end.
No, it's how the NFL is now, where almost every team is somewhat evenly matched. It's not like way back then where clearly there was such a mismatch. I'm just stating the fact that every Brady Super Bowl, if I give him credit, I'll give him this. All his Super Bowl games are exciting to watch because I do want him to lose, and it's always kind of like a close game down to the wire, down to a one-possession thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm really rooting for the Falcons because,
I
want them to finally get that first Super Bowl win for their franchise. I know I'm the Dolphins fan, and the last 15 years have been kind of hard. But, there's nothing like, at least having the Super Bowls in your franchise. You know what I mean?
Look,
it's got to feel so weird to be a franchise that has no Super Bowls to show for. Like the Lions.
Hey, I will always root for a team that never won a Super Bowl. And I'm always going to root against Brady. So, just on picking my heart, I am going to pick the Falcons. I think this is definitely a coin flip kind of thing. I think it can go either way. I think we're over-exaggerating with the Patriots. I think it's just history and their dominance gives them more respect, so people are just going to naturally assume they're going to dominate.
Yeah.
And, I am rooting for Atlanta. I think Atlanta – we always talk about how Cleveland is always suffering every year. Like a bunch of whiny little bastards.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know. It's always a pity party for Cleveland, no matter what sport it is.
You are a factory of sadness!
Where's the Atlanta pity party?
Yeah.
Dude, the Atlanta Braves – went to 14 straight playoffs. They've only won one Super Bowl in the Chipper Jones, Bobby Cox era.
Yeah.
One World Series, I'm sorry.
I really hate when the media is so sympathetic towards Cleveland and they're like, "Oh, they deserve to win. They suffered so much." You deserve to win when you earn it. That's when you deserve to win anything. You don't just get a little participation trophy.
Cleveland's not the only city that suffers with sports. Atlanta, San Diego, for God's sake,
the
San Diego.
Lions in the NFL for the last 50 years.
Yeah, but Detroit doesn't suffer in sports. They still have the Red Wings.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying as far as the NFL franchises go.
I'm talking about sports franchises. I'm talking about cities.
So you're just cities
in general. Atlanta, they lost a hockey team twice. The Falcons are historically bad. The Braves underachieved badly. And the Atlanta Hawks, no one even cares. Not even people in the city cares about them. But I know there's been debate whether they're really loyal or not, Atlanta fans, but it does feel nice when you finally win that Super Bowl for the first time. I know the people in Seattle were so happy when they finally won it. But I like Matt Ryan a lot. I think he's a good guy. I think he's very underappreciated because of the team he plays for. Again, some franchises just gets a little more love and respect because that.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. I can make the argument Matt Ryan would have probably been more popular if he was playing with the Dolphins if we drafted him.
Yeah. So anyway, other headlines that came out, I think it was either today or yesterday. Well, the Steelers feel that Antonio Brown cares more about his own personal stats than the entire team performance.
I believe it.
He was pouting after the D'Angelo Williams TD in the Patriots game. last year it was reported that Mike Tomlin had to have a sit-down with Brown and told him to stop worrying about his own personal numbers in order to better help the team and its championship aspirations. And this comes after that famous Facebook video live post, after the Steelers-Chiefs game, after they won that game. So, and then another one is, I guess the Patriots really affected Ben Roethlisberger because he is trying to retire right now, or he's not fully committed in returning in 2017. He says, I'm going to take this time to evaluate, to consider health and family and things like that, and just to take some time away to evaluate next season, if there's going to be a next season. So those are his words. Ben Roethlisberger has 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 appearances, and over his career he has 46,000 yards, over 46,000 yards, 301 TDs, 160 interceptions, and 94.1 quarterback rating.
Yeah, I thought his interceptions were more than that.
Yeah.
I was very surprised about that. It just sounds like he's just taking the loss pretty hard. I think he'll be back, honestly. I think, like, if you're really quitting, you're probably quitting because you're really, really beat up. That's the only thing I think of.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't quit just yet.
Well, I don't think he's had a full 16-game season the past, at least for 5 years or so.
I can't think.
He always misses like 2 or 3 games.
I can't think of any season he played a full season.
Yeah.
Honestly. Maybe
I mean,
I can't think of him.
Yeah, he gets some, but it's never anything really serious. I don't think. Like, he gets banged up here and there, but it's not like he's...
but dude, when you're doing it for years and you're always getting hurt all the time,
yeah,
you don't know.
And
you don't know how bad he's beat up.
And the thing is, it's different when you're the Patriots. It's like you're automatically like a Super Bowl contender every year. For Ben Roethlisberger, I think he just looks at Brady and just sees that even no matter if he wants to go to the Super Bowl for the next 5 years, if he continues playing, he's always going to have to end up facing Brady. And maybe, you never know, but it'll most probably be a loss every single time.
Yeah, I think even though the AFC is still a piece of crap and he could still go as far as he can, I think he's got the hardest degree because he still has to play against Baltimore and Cincinnati all
That's true.
So it's like I got to go through probably the best division in the AFC.
A very physical division.
Yeah, so he's got to go through that. And then he'll probably have to end up playing against Brady.
Yep. And also, yeah, but if Ben Roethlisberger sticks around, he has a really good team right now, a really good foundation for a team. If Martavis Bryant comes back and stays off the pot, he would have a really good number 2 receiver along with Brown. He's got a good offensive line. He's got Le'Veon Bell. D'Angelo Williams, I don't know how long he's going to play for, but, he's a good, number 2 back.
Pittsburgh is a great organization. They know how to draft. They'll always be a contender. I don't think they'll ever be a Super Bowl contender every year. But when Pittsburgh's coming to town, you got to be ready for that.
Yeah. And also he's got a young defense now. I mean, aside from James Harrison, but but he's still, James Harrison, I don't know when he's going to retire, but let's say, obviously he's going to move on, but they have a good young linebacking core. They drafted some new corners that started coming along, during the playoffs and late in this regular season. So, with a couple, with a good defense and a good offense, he still has a chance to still be a good team. It's not like the team needs a total rebuild or anything like that. So if he has a good reason to come back and keep trying as long as that foundation is there. But, I just think he's a little butt hurt from the spanking that he got on Sunday. And I just think he needs a couple weeks to just get that loss and, move past that loss and just come back.
He'll move on. I think he's just a little upset too.
Yeah, his play hasn't declined. He's still a really good quarterback. I mean, on paper, it looks like he had a bad game, but that's because.
In fairness, though, he didn't look that amazing in the playoffs. Well, except us, but our defense is garbage.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like against the Patriots, I don't think he had a bad game. I just think it was all the receivers letting him down.
Also, his
Aaron Rodgers receivers let him down.
Ever since that Super Bowl appearance he lost, Pittsburgh hasn't exactly been a great playoff team. They lost to Tim Tebow, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, that's true. But that was like 5 years ago.
Doesn't matter. You lost to Tebow.
Yeah, that's true.
Granted, I actually thought Tebow.
God, what a biter.
Granted, I always thought Denver would upset them, but
yeah. Still,
you lost to Tebow. You know, you lost to You lost to Joe Flacco that 1 year at home. No. Pittsburgh's been a very weird team like the last few years.
Yeah, they're a little inconsistent, but I'm saying like they still have great players.
Yeah, no.
It's just like a weird inconsistency thing. You never really know what you're gonna get sometimes from them, week in and week out. Like I think last year they were more dominant than they were this year in 2016. 2016 they were up and down. It's like sometimes they dominated. Like they dominated the Chiefs, I think that game, and then they played down to like other teams.
I won't say dominated. I don't know.
Well, anyway, I think the score was like 30-10 or something in that game. But yeah. So moving on to finally, we're gonna talk about the Dolphins. Jesus.
Dolphins, baby.
All right. So the Dolphins needs this offseason. You know, I think we all know their number one needs are on defense. You know, they're gonna need at least one linebacker, maybe two. You know, there's rumors out there saying that they're going to finally let go of Koomisi. They're going to get rid of Mario Williams, who's done nothing since he signed with them. So, yeah, their number two need, Robbie thinks so, and I probably agree with this, is the need for a guard / center or center guard, or however you want to put it.
First and foremost, we need to fix our linebackers, okay?
Yes.
Our linebackers stink.
They're terrible.
They stink.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
All right, so in my personal opinion, I have some needs. I've written down some notes and stuff because I had a lot of free time yesterday while I was at school. First and foremost, we got to fix our linebacker core. We need to draft a linebacker. We got to draft a linebacker. I think they will. I think after this playoff game, I think they really realize, hey, let's shore up our defense. Because especially when you have Tannehill as your quarterback, you're probably going to need a good defense to keep up afloat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I also feel we got to...
And it also takes the pressure off of Tannehill because your defense will be playing better, and Tannehill doesn't have to play as perfect as a game.
Yeah, exactly.
Of a game.
I also think we're going to have to fix our secondary. I think Rashad Jones will be back next year, but I wouldn't be surprised they shore up their secondary. I don't know what we're going to do with Byron Maxwell. I haven't heard anything about them releasing him or anything like that. We'll probably be stuck with him for another year at least.
That's okay. He probably won't be a starter next year.
Probably. Still a pretty expensive backup.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to research his contract thing because I think, I don't know, I heard a rumor that the Eagles took off most of the money of his contract, so maybe the Dolphins aren't actually paying that much for him. But yeah, I think if you fix the linebackers, boom, your run defense gets way better, and two, it's going to force quarterbacks to beat you. And I'd rather have a quarterback beat me than the running game beat me, because the running game, if you let the running game beat you, it's the easiest way to win. All you got to do is hand it off, hand it off, hand it off, and then go all the way down the field.
It's just awful to look at. After that, linebacker, secondary, basically our defense in general, like just shore in defense.
Yeah.
You can fix that in the draft.
You need those safeties to come back healthy, and then I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
You need Jones and Kudus to come back.
Yeah. I also agree with Mike with the guard center. Look, Tunsil will eventually be our left tackle of the future. I'm not worried about Tunsil moving from guard, but I don't know what's going to happen with Pouncey. I don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Albert.
Jermon Bushrod.
Jermon Bushrod is a free agent coming up, and he's pretty old too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even love Juwan James right now. I don't know why Tony Baselli said we had a great left tackle, right tackle tandem. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
Offensive line, like we might look in free agency for that, and maybe draft a young one to develop. Like my idea would be probably draft one of those guards that could play center, and just like develop him and put him as like some sort of depth chart.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to fix this offensive line is, I mean, earlier in the season I wanted Albert and Pouncey to get rid of that, but if you do that this offseason, you're going to create a huge huge mess on the offensive line. You're going to need to repair it and invest way too much in which
we were already struggling to begin with. Honestly.
Yeah, if you get rid of Albert and Pouncey, basically you're going to invest too much in this offseason to fix that problem. So, I mean, I know Pouncey's a great player, and he's been a long-time Dolphin, and everybody loves him, but he has had hip issues since probably the season before he even signed that contract. Like, I know he missed like 4 to 6 games in 2014 with hip issues because of hip surgery. And then in 2015, I think he missed a couple of games because of that. And then now in 2016, he had to have, before the 2016 season started, he had to have, hip surgery to shave one side of his hip or whatever it was. And, then he missed like 4 or 6 games? Yeah, I think he finally came back for that Steelers game, which is week 6, I believe. So,
we started kicking butt because we had a healthy offensive line that doesn't suck.
Yeah. And then when Pouncey went down, Craig Urbick and...
remember Final Fantasy... What did I say? Fantasy football nerds. Offensive lines matter, not your diva wide receivers.
Yep, offensive lines.
The deflector shield.
That's talking to you too, Mike.
Especially when you have a quarterback that isn't on that level of Aaron Rodgers.
That's a shot at you too, Mike, you freaking fantasy football nerd.
I know, but I win at fantasy football.
You're still a fantasy football
why I
nerd.
win at fantasy football is because I base it on reality. I don't just draft Cleveland Browns players because they're putting up points. It's a bad team. Not going to have no bad players.
Browns.
Yeah, the Browns. So I think the easiest way to fix this O-line is you find a replacement for Pouncey and you keep, Tunsil at left guard and you keep Albert at left tackle. And then that way you only have to find a center. And then maybe, if Bushrod goes down, he might actually stay because I think he played really good at guard. I know he's like an older player, but he was an older player playing right tackle. And now he's moved to guard, so you don't have to be as athletic.
He'll probably resign with a decent deal, so I'll probably Well, still, so we'll talk more about the draft when we do our draft special before the draft happens. We have some really great plans for that. We've been discussing about doing a draft special show. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna get into more detail about our own mock drafts and stuff like that as when we get to that episode.
Yep. And also, if you pay for a guard in free agency, that's a lot less expensive than probably paying for a linebacker or a defensive end or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because free agent skill players or free agent stars are ridiculously expensive. We saw that with Ndamukong Suh. We saw that with a bust in Mike Wallace coming from the Steelers a couple years ago. Like, we were paying him like $15 to $17 million a year for like a 5-year, $60 million contract. That was ridiculous. And then the next 2 years, he wasn't even here. So the best way to build your team is through the draft. If you want to put elite players on your team, you got to find them in the draft. That's the cheapest way to do it.
What you do is you gotta do like Denver did it. Build through the draft, get your elite quarterback, and then get some key pricey free agents just for a few years, just to keep that window open just a little bit longer.
Yep,
that's how they did it. It worked.
All right, and then
my final need, I do think this team does need, is someone I don't know.
Defensive end?
Nope. Tight ends.
Tight end.
Yes, I know we have our disagreements with this.
Yes.
I know
okay. Rob thinks the number 3 needs a tight end, and I differ with that. I think it's a defensive end, but I'll let Rob go first.
Look, Tannehill. You need to build your team around your quarterback. And I do think having a good, solid tight end that can control the middle of the field is something Tannehill really does need. I don't think his skill sets I've never considered him a great deep ball threat. I don't think he's a great red zone threat. I think getting a stud tight end for blocking, for pass blocking, run blocking, and catching is something I think we do need. I don't think we should draft one in the first round unless you know the tight end that's available there. You really believe, hey, this guy's going to make an immediate impact. If you really believe he can do it, go for it.
But if you draft a tight end in the first round, you better draft a linebacker in the second.
Yeah, of course. Like, I do think we're going to draft a linebacker in the first round. I really do believe that. I think most analysts, most mock drafts I've seen, I have some notes on that. I'll explain it a little bit. Has basically said about that.
All right. My number 3 need on this team, I think you could get by. I mean, as you know, barring injury to Deion Sims again, I think you could get by with not drafting or not getting a tight end in this offseason. I think the number 3 need is defensive ends because I think that, you know, I know Cameron Wake is still playing at a pretty high level, and he's a freak of nature because he takes care of his body like a robot. But you still need a defensive end on the other side of him. Andre Branch, I like him, but I like him as like a number 3 role-playing defensive end. And also because of Cam Wake, he's getting older, and you never know. And sometimes these players, one year they're playing at a high level, but the next year, you know, because of their age, they just fall off out of nowhere. And you're going to need someone to fill in for Cameron Wake when he finally leaves this team, whether by retirement or whether he just goes to another team. So I think, you know, with linebackers and defense, it really makes this team better and has a higher impact on this team than what a tight end would probably do. So, yeah. That's it for our little Dolphins offseason needs. Oh, so moving on right now is what the Dolphins should do with Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills. So Jarvis Landry, he becomes a free agent after the 2017 season, and Stills is currently a free agent. So what do you want to start with? You want to start with Landry or Stills, Robbie?
Simple and quick as this. You resign freaking Jarvis Landry and try to find a successor for Kenny Stills. Simple as that.
I think so. I mean, I like Kenny Stills, and I know he's got a big role on this team. But, I mean, look at his stats. I mean, he's got, like, Chris Hogan stats. He's not like, a huge elite player or anything. I know a lot of fans buy into him because he plays on the Dolphins, and he makes good plays sometimes. But he's like a spacer. He's like a Mike Wallace.
I mean, if he's such an elite player, New Orleans would have never traded him away for no problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I love Jarvis Landry. I knew he was going to be good coming out. Everybody loved him in training camp, and he's been nothing but probably the one player we're excited to watch. I think more people go to Dolphins games to watch him play than watch freaking Tannehill.
Oh, no. I totally agree, because Jarvis Landry actually, he's so emotional. Like, he's the one player that you're like, this guy really wants to win.
Yeah.
No matter what week it is, he's always going to try.
I've always been told by a lot of people, Odell Beckham is the more talented player, but Jarvis Landry
is true, I think.
Yeah, I don't deny that. Like, Odell Beckham is the more talented player. Jarvis Landry is like the better leader of the two.
Yeah. Jarvis Landry is an alpha male.
Yeah,
and he doesn't care, like, if he's undersized, he's going to make more than one person tackle him on the field.
All he does is play hard, kick ass. He's been the most fun player to watch. I think he's just great. He's got great repertoire at Tannehill.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going to resign him anyway. I think he's just going to be a player that's going to be with us for the next 5 years. I mean, if you don't resign him, then you're just being really cheap at this point. I don't see the benefit of just not resigning him, even if you just want to save some money.
Well, he's going to merit, like, over... I have no problem giving him a Allen Hurns kind of contract where you just give him $10 million a year. I would do that in a heartbeat, in a second, because he's that good. But, you know, so 10, 11, maybe 12, I would bite my lip and say sure, but anything more than that, because, I mean, I love Jarvis Landry and everything, but...
He's not going to get a huge contract. He's not going to get the most expensive wide receiver. He's a slot
he
receiver.
would want that because his drive is just there and his ego's there and everything like that.
Everybody wants that, man.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically, I only see Jarvis Landry as like a slot receiver and a really like a high level slot receiver, but because he's not a red zone threat. He's not a red zone threat.
He's not a red zone threat because we don't have a quarterback to throw in the red zone too.
That's true, but we don't really draw up any plays for him in the red zone unless it's like a crossing route or something like that.
Trust me, if Tom Brady was our quarterback, Jarvis Landry would be the ultimate red zone threat along with Gronk. All right.
Well, that's true because Tom Brady loves taking advantage of those mismatches on linebackers. And that's where you usually get your...
I think this is even a dumb discussion we're talking about, to be honest with you. They're going to resign Jarvis.
No, I know that, but how much are you willing to pay to bring him back? Because the time to do it's now before all the teams get a bid on him in 2017.
They will get it done. They will get it done. Dolphins like to overpay anyway, so it'll happen. I even said it. If you want to overpay for him, that's fine. Because I think we do need him. I think he is someone... Again... You have to give your quarterback something to work with.
No. I'll bring him back, but I'm not going to pay him like... Man, if they really have to give him 13, maybe, but like 14, 15, 16, 17 million, that's crazy. I would not bring him back.
No wide receiver is getting that much.
No, but he doesn't score enough touchdowns to get that.
Dude, it will be a fair enough deal. We'll probably be a little overpaying, but just to keep him locked up for the next 4 to 5 years, it will be done. It's going to happen. Trust me, they will figure something out.
Yeah. Well, I hope it's something reasonable.
Yeah.
Because this guy only has 13 touchdowns in 3 years.
Yeah, but he has a shit ton of catches for like...
Nah, I know. But catches don't win you games.
True.
Touchdowns
catches in the end zone.
And I love Jarvis Landry, but I don't like overpaying for players.
And honestly,
and it's not his fault.
And
honestly,
it's not
his fault.
The lack of the touchdown is also a product of our quarterback.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was gonna say.
Look, I'm really just gonna. You're just motivating me more and more to talk smack about our quarterback. We're really overpaying.
Look, I think Tannehill's a fine, above average game manager. He's in the 15 to 17 quarterback range.
Fans, make sure to comment in our fan page and let us know that Mike was hating on Tannehill way before the season started.
I did, but then he restored my hopes because of Adam Gase's play calling.
I am not
because Adam Gase actually realizes that Tannehill is not a type of quarterback to carry a team. Unlike Joe Philbin.
I got a little queasy.
All Tannehill just did was give him another year to keep his job. And I'm sorry. Well, I don't want a quarterback that could just carry it enough. No, I want a freaking winner. I want a guy that every week, hey, we have him.
You want the guy that when the chips are down and nothing else is working on the team, that quarterback can get you the win.
I don't feel that way with Tannehill. When Tannehill's playing a bad team, I think to myself, he probably could win that game. When he's playing against a good-ass quarterback, I don't feel that way.
No, I don't feel that way.
Tom Brady, you got a shot. Peyton Manning, you got a shot. Ben Roethlisberger, you got a shot. Derek Carr, now, you got a shot.
I love Derek Carr.
Jameis Winston. God, Jameis Winston would be a Super Bowl contender right now. You got a shot when you have that elite quarterback. And this is how the game is now, people. Sooner or later, I'm going to do my little rant on Ryan Tannehill. We're going to do a little discussion later on about ranting. We're not going to interrupt each other. We're just going to speak our minds, and that's that.
Yep. So the Kenny Stills situation. Gonna be free. I think he's gonna be a free agent in the next couple weeks, couple months. I'm not really sure what the dates on those kind of things, but how much are you gonna be willing to pay to bring him back? I mean, he's a number 3 receiver on any team, I think. What about you?
I don't think they're gonna re-sign him.
You don't think he's okay?
Nah, I think he's just gonna be one of those players that's gonna ask for more money than they want to. I think I'd rather use that money to give to Jarvis Landry because I think Jarvis Landry is a more valuable player than Kenny Stills. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion.
If the Dolphins were to bring him back, I'd give him that Brian Hartline contract that we gave Hartline a couple years ago, like 4 years, $30 million, I think it was, or 5 years, $30 million, where he makes like $6 million a year. I'd give him something like that.
I wish I was getting $6 million a year.
Yeah, because Kenny Stills is a really young player, and he's really good, but he's a number 3 receiver. And how much are you gonna you know, how much are you willing to pay as the number 3 for a number 3 receiver?
Look, the Dolphins drafted a lot of wide receivers last year, and I think they know it because they knew Kenny Stills was probably not going to stay there for long.
That was my philosophy too, because Kenny Stills.
I know the guy they got from Rutgers. That's someone they really like a lot. That's someone I really interested in seeing if he's going to emerge or not.
Mm-hmm.
I got a friend of mine that's obsessed with Rutgers football. I still don't get it either, but he loves him. I know he has some baggage coming out, but he loves him. He thinks he's gonna be a great player. He could be a great player. I think he just had one of those rookie years where, you know, they don't really do that much because they're not getting that much snaps. But Kenny Stills, like him, he is a good player, but he does drop a lot of balls, and I think again, those deep threat spacers, there are a dime a dozen. You can find them anywhere.
I'll disagree on the drops, but you know, like look at his performance this year: 726 yards, but he has 9 TDs, which is pretty nice. But I mean, like that's 726 yards. You know, like are you getting excited about that, people? I'm not. If I'll bring back Kenny Stills for at most $6 million a year, but he's gonna be in a bidding war with all these other NFL teams, and a lot of them are bad teams that are desperate for playmakers and just want to, you know, sometimes they just sign a decent player.
You know what? He's just gonna go to Cleveland because they all go to Cleveland and do
exactly.
miserably.
Some of these teams, like the Dolphins used to do, they would just overpay for like some big name player. And that just to attract tickets, just to, you know, get fans in the seats. And then what happened? What?
Jarvis Landry
Nothing.
They
got rid of him in 2 years.
Jarvis Landry puts fans in the seats.
Yeah.
Not Kenny Stills.
Exactly.
I'm all advocate. Look, I wish we could keep them both, but if you got to pick one or the other one, I'm picking Jarvis Landry.
Like, look.
I just think he's just a better player. I just think he's a more emotional player. I think he's a better leader. I think he loves being here. I think you need someone like him. That tough, rah-rah, kind of like, I got this, you know?
Yeah.
He's someone I could depend on. And trust me, he's made a lot of big-ass plays through the years. So.
Remember when the Dolphins signed Mike Wallace? A couple years ago?
Mike Wallace fell because his skill set doesn't work with Tannehill. Tannehill can't throw it deep. Simple as that. I don't want
this year he could.
I don't want to. No, I'm tired.
Yeah, he did. He threw it well this year. Give him credit for that. He threw it deep this year.
Look, I'm tired.
In the beginning of his career, he used to be a really bad deep thrower.
I'm tired of hearing that, he got better this year. I need to see more. I
know, but for 16 games, he was really consistent. That's a good sign. It's not like one game he missed and one game he was bad.
Games. And what do you mean 6 consistent? Those first 4 or 5 games, he was awful. And even during this winning streak, I didn't think he was that impressive.
He hit Kenny Stills in the Seattle game, and he dropped it. He hit Kenny Stills again in the Bengals, and he caught it for like a 70-yard touchdown.
Look, again, I'm saying this over and over. All right, look, I don't hate Tannehill. I think he's a nice guy. I think he really is not that bad of a quarterback. I think he's just as average as you're gonna get. I don't want average. I'm tired of average.
I'm tired of average too, but until we find something better, we got to stick with him.
Brad Kaya, maybe.
Brad Kaya, first-round pick from the U.
The U. All right. Well, I'll do my rant soon. Let's get to the next subject, though. Before we get
That's all the subjects I have.
Go Heat, by the way. Great win over the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dion Waiters with that clutch 3 at the end of the game.
Yeah. How long are they going to keep that up?
Never.
Just a fluky win?
It's a fluky streak. They're going to be bad sooner or later, and we better be bad. Sorry, guys. In the NBA, you either got to be good enough to win a championship or be awful enough to get the number 1 pick. If you don't got a superstar, you'll never win. Just like if you don't have a quarterback, you'll never win.
Mm-hmm. You have Whiteside, but Whiteside's only one guy, and he's a center. So there you go. Yeah. All right. Short topics here. I want to give a congratulations to my boy, and I think your boy too, Phillip Rivers. Made his 6th Pro Bowl.
I don't know how. He was actually pretty terrible this year.
Yeah. No, he was really good, and then he kind of fell off as the game went.
He did throw a lot of interceptions.
No, he did. But he was great for most of the year until the last couple games, and when the Chargers finally took a dump. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger dropped out of the Pro Bowl, I think, due to either injury or his non-desire to play in 2017
or not wanting to go to Orlando instead of Hawaii.
Yeah.
Why NFL? Why? I'll never understand that.
So Phillip Rivers gets the Pro Bowl nod because he's going to be replacing Big Ben. And also, I'm kind of annoyed by this, but Trevor Siemian was elected as a Pro Bowl QB.
The AFC's bad. They have no good quarterbacks. Trevor Siemian got an invitation. Andy Dalton got into the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Well, Andy Dalton's better than Trevor Siemian. I actually kind of understand the Andy Dalton one. But for Trevor, the thing is, what I'm annoyed about is that Trevor Siemian received a Pro Bowl nod over Ryan Tannehill. And I know Tannehill didn't light up the world with stat sheets this year, but he was a heck of a lot better than Trevor Siemian. And I will go to my grave saying that.
By the way, is this your rant today, Mike?
Yeah, you know what? This could be my rant.
All right. Before we start, I came up with this last night. You know, ever seen that Peter Griffin thing? You know what really grinds my gears? So we both wanted to do, I want to do something where we're both going to rant about something. And we're not going to interrupt each other. We're not even going to debate about it. We're just going to let off some steam. Because we need to say it out. It's kind of like that final take thing on First Take where they're just ranting about something. I think it's actually kind of interesting. So we're going to do that. He will do his rant first. I'm sorry. Why don't you go ahead and start your rant? Okay. So you want me to do mine, son?
Yep.
All right, then. My thing, while he rants about him not getting the invite for the Pro Bowl for Tannehill, I'm just going to talk about Tannehill himself. Andrew Luck, all-time great, or will be an all-time great. Robert Griffin III, the Rookie of the Year. Say all you want that he's a bust or not. He still won the Offensive Rookie of the Year and guided the Washington Redskins to the playoffs. Brock Osweiler is a Super Bowl champion. Nick Foles and Kirk Cousins guided their teams through the playoffs and made a Pro Bowl. Ryan Tannehill still has... Russell Wilson, Super Bowl champion, one of the all-time greats right now. Ryan Tannehill, though, nothing still. Absolutely nothing. Now, everybody's going to talk about how great he was this year. Yeah, he had a better season than probably other years, except for that one pretty good year he had, which I thought he got kind of snubbed from a Pro Bowl. But in the end, Ryan Tannehill is who he is. He's the epitome of average. He is not the guy where you think, hey, as long as we have him, we got a shot at winning any game. I don't think he'll ever be anything special. Everybody talks about Adam Gase revived his career. Adam Gase is his genius. Adam Gase is this and that. No, Adam Gase just realized that we should run the ball more. And we should fix our offensive line. Because I don't think he believes in Tannehill. The only thing Tannehill did this year to me was guarantee that he should at least be the starter next year, which I'm okay with. I don't have a problem with him being a starter. But I just cannot just take it anymore with him in terms of this future with him. I hate the way he plays. I think he's very boring to watch. I don't like his throwing mechanics. I don't like the way he throws the ball. I still don't think he's that great of a deep threat thrower, even though the stats say he is. I don't think he's that amazing in the red zone like the stats say he is. Hell, they don't even let him run the ball that much, despite him being very athletic with a wide receiver background. Tannehill is just a guy. Simple as that. Can you win more than 8 games with him? Yeah, he was going to anyway. Would he have made the playoffs if he was just healthy? Yeah, he probably was going to make it. I think our degree of difficulty this year was just so terrible. in terms of just easiness. Like, let's face it, we're that bad team that made it to the playoffs because their freaking competition was just awful this year. The AFC is pretty bad. This is the time where an up-and-coming quarterback can take over the AFC, no problem. Derek Carr took over the AFC. And let me just point out, Joe Philbin wanted him. You know, that's why I have a little respect for Joe Philbin, because at least he saw the quarterback that he knew was going to be the one to take over. And sure as hell ain't Tannehill. Tannehill's a nice guy. He works hard. He's getting a little better. But he is just not going to be the answer long term. I promise you, may not be this draft, but any future draft coming up, Adam Gase is going to get his guy. And that's when we'll find out if Adam Gase is truly this offensive genius when he finally gets his guy. I still advocate that we should draft Brad Kaya because I think Brad Kaya can make some noise in the NFL. Chances are we're probably not going to get him. So let's continue. Let's see how Tannehill does next year, because this is really his last chance to finally make a name for himself, which I don't think he will. And that's my rant. Mike?
I don't know how many people believe this or not. And I don't, I'll defend Ryan Tannehill over some quarterbacks, but there's other quarterbacks where people think that Ryan Tannehill is equal to. And a lot of people say, oh, no, Tannehill's at a bad team, so he doesn't win that much or whatever. Look, I'm not going to use the win and losses argument because that's a team thing. Fine, I get that. But I ran into a certain someone on social media who made the wise comment, or not the unwise comment, I should say, that Ryan Tannehill and Matt Ryan are pretty similar. So the Dolphins will be okay. No. Ryan Tannehill is nowhere close to Matt Ryan at all. And people could use the, Ryan Tannehill passes over 4,000 yards, just like Matt Ryan, blah, 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 dress it up with your pretty little bogus stats. But when you actually look at passing offensive ratings and rankings, which is way more meaningful than just stats, because stats lie to you sometimes when you take them out of context. Okay? Ryan Tannehill, his best career passing offense, in the first 5 years, people want to compare Matt Ryan to Ryan Tannehill, right? Ryan Tannehill's best career passing offense was in 2014, and it was ranked 17th. Okay? Out of Tannehill's first 5 years, his best passing offense was ranked 17th. This was his 5th year in 2016, and his ranking was 26th in passing offense. Well, Miami was, anyway. And Ryan Tannehill was throwing the ball most of that time. And Matt Ryan's first year in the league was 2008. And Atlanta was already ranked 14th in passing, thanks to Matt Ryan. 2009, 14th. 2010, 15th. 2011, 8th. 2012, 6th. 2013, 7th. 2014, 5th. 2015, 6th. And now 2016, it's 3rd. Ryan Tannehill is nowhere close to Matt Ryan because Ryan Tannehill is not really a difference maker or someone who could carry the team on his own. And we've seen that in the Joe Philbin years, when Joe Philbin wanted to go pass happy all the time, and Ryan Tannehill would either get sacked or just not be able to come through. He was terrible on third downs throughout his whole Joe Philbin career, and he was terrible in the fourth quarter throughout his whole Joe Philbin career. Okay, people? Not the same person. Not even close to any of these elite QBs out there. Ryan Tannehill was still ranked, to me, last time I checked, when I went down the list of quarterbacks in the league, he was a 15th to 17th quarterback for me. He's average. He has all the physical tools in the world, but he is not the same type of quarterback. He's not a difference maker. Not yet, anyway. He has all the physical tools in the world. All he needs to do is learn the mental aspect of the game by reading defenses, learning how to call audibles, all that stuff. We'll see over this next offseason if he can learn how to do that. And if he can, he's going to take that next hop into the upper tier quarterbacks. Maybe where the Ben Roethlisbergers and Eli's and Phillip Rivers and Jameis Winstons of the world are. That second tier, like right below the elite level. But you have to learn how to do that kind of thing. So we're going to see. And that's my rant.
This has been Mike and Rob for Dolphin Dorks.
Hopefully we agitated enough of you people out there to get more listeners. But also I hope this was very educating for you guys, because we like to be the voice.
He likes to be the voice. I just like to complain.
Yeah. I like to be the voice of the people and try to educate other people when it comes to football and the NFL and the Miami Dolphins. So, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. You guys stay classy. And we're going to come to you next week talking more about the Super Bowl. It's going to be awesome.
Super Bowl special next week.
Bye-bye.